Welcome back to the channel. Today's story will take you on a journey unlike any other, one that intertwines the seemingly ordinary with the absolutely extraordinary. At the heart of it all is a small, unassuming copper-plated coin, the 2017 1-cent piece. On the surface, it looks like any other penny you might find jingling in your pocket or lodged under your couch cushions. But this particular coin hides a story so astonishing, it catapulted into the world spotlight and ultimately became one of the most valuable coins in U.S. history, with a jaw-dropping valuation of $6 million. Buckle up, because what started as a routine transaction turned into a legendary tale of mystery, history, and unexpected fortune. It all began on a chilly March morning in Philadelphia. Richard Ellison, a retired railroad worker in his late 60s, was sipping his morning coffee while sorting through a bowl of spare change. A modest man with simple habits, Richard had never been one to chase riches or gamble with chance. He had worked hard all his life, saved diligently, and now spent his days gardening, watching vintage westerns, and tinkering in his garage. Coins meant little to him, they were merely tools for vending machines or parking meters. But that day, as the sun streamed in through the kitchen window, one coin stood out. It wasn't the gleam or the color. In fact, it looked fairly dull, worn even, as if it had seen its fair share of dusty pockets and cashier trays. What caught Richard's attention was the small P stamped just below the year. 2017 P, he muttered, turning the coin over in his calloused hands. He'd never noticed that mark before. Curiosity piqued, he set the coin aside and went about his morning routine. Later that afternoon, Richard mentioned the coin to his neighbor, Shirley, who happened to be a retired schoolteacher with a deep passion for American history. She immediately perked up. "The P mint mark?" she asked. "That's a first. They've never done that on pennies before." Shirley explained that 2017 marked the 225th anniversary of the U.S. Mint, and to celebrate the milestone, for the first time ever, pennies struck at the Philadelphia Mint bore the P mint mark. It was a small gesture, mostly symbolic, and more of a historical footnote than a numismatic revelation. Or so people thought. What neither Richard nor Shirley realized at the time was that this particular coin was no ordinary 2017 P penny. While millions were minted that year, more than 4.6 billion, to be exact, only a handful had a peculiar error. A misalignment during the minting process caused a distinctive doubling on the obverse, creating what numismatists call a doubled die. But this wasn't just any doubled die. The mistake was so precise and consistent across only a limited batch of coins that it immediately triggered interest among collectors. The value skyrocketed for the few that surfaced, but Richard's coin, it would eclipse them all. Over the next few days, Shirley's curiosity turned into excitement. She insisted Richard take the coin to a local coin dealer just to see if it had any value. Richard was skeptical but agreed, more to humor her than anything else. They visited a small, dimly lit coin shop nestled between a bakery and a used bookstore on Walnut Street. The owner, a grizzled man named Miles who had seen every type of coin imaginable, took one look at Richard's penny and raised an eyebrow. "Where did you get this?" Miles asked, his voice low and measured. "From my change jar," Richard replied. "Why?" Miles didn't answer right away. Instead, he pulled out a magnifying loupe and examined the coin for several minutes, tilting it under the light, muttering to himself. Then he placed it on a soft velvet pad, opened a large reference book, and began flipping pages. Finally, he looked up. "This might be one of the rarest errors I've ever seen," he said slowly. "There's something unusual about the strike, the alignment is off, the lettering slightly doubled, but not in a way I've seen before. And the condition, it's nearly pristine." Richard was stunned. "So, what does that mean?" Miles leaned in. "It means you might be sitting on a fortune." Word spread quickly through the numismatic circles. Experts flew in from different parts of the country to examine the coin. Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, rated it a near-perfect MS-69, which was unheard of for a circulated penny. But more than the condition, it was the nature of the error and the timing of its production that created the buzz. This wasn't just a rare penny, it was a historical anomaly, a perfect storm of minting mistake, national celebration, and pristine preservation. Within weeks, offers began pouring in. A private collector in Texas offered $200,000. Then a museum in Washington, D.C. placed a bid of $500,000, hoping to add it to their numismatic showcase. But the bidding didn't stop there. A wealthy tech entrepreneur with a penchant for rare collectibles offered $2 million. Richard was overwhelmed. He'd never seen more than a few $1,000s in his bank account at one time, and now people were offering him sums he couldn't comprehend, all for a penny he found in a change jar. But just when it seemed the coin had reached peak value, something remarkable happened. A historian from the U.S. Mint, Dr. Helen Archer, published an article that changed everything. According to archival records, during the first week of 2017, the Philadelphia Mint had run a limited batch of pennies using an experimental die that had been slightly misaligned. This batch was never intended for circulation. In fact, the records suggested they were meant for internal testing only. Somehow, a small handful made their way into the general coinage stream. Dr. Archer's research verified that only 12 such coins were ever produced. Of those 12, 11 were accounted for, either destroyed, kept in the Mint's archives, or held in private institutional collections. Richard's coin was the 12th, long believed to be lost or accidentally destroyed. Its reappearance not only confirmed a long-standing Mint mystery but also completed the set, making it the only known specimen of its kind in public hands. This revelation sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. The value of the coin soared almost overnight. Auction houses began vying for the rights to sell it, and major media outlets picked up the story. Headlines declared it the most valuable modern penny in U.S. history. Richard found himself being interviewed on national television, featured in documentaries, and invited to numismatic conventions as an honored guest. But through it all, he remained humble, always reminding people that he was just a guy who found a lucky penny. Eventually, Richard decided to auction the coin through Heritage Auctions. The event was held in New York City and broadcast live. The room buzzed with anticipation as bidders from around the globe joined via phone and online platforms. The starting bid was set at $500,000. Within seconds, it crossed $1 million. Then 2. 3. Finally, after a tense bidding war between a collector from Dubai and an anonymous phone bidder, the hammer came down at an astonishing $6 million. Richard was stunned. The coin that had cost him nothing, a simple copper disc worth 1 cent, had just changed his life forever. He used the money to pay off his mortgage, donate to local charities, and fund a scholarship program for underprivileged students interested in history and the sciences. He traveled the country, giving talks about the importance of paying attention to the small things in life. You never know, he often said, when something seemingly insignificant might be the key to something extraordinary. The 2017 1 cent coin became more than just a rare artifact. It became a symbol of hidden potential, of history intersecting with chance, and of how even the most overlooked things can hold incredible value. To this day, collectors talk about Richard's coin with reverence. Its story is taught in numismatics courses and displayed in exhibitions. And somewhere out there, perhaps in another dusty change jar or buried between couch cushions, someone might unknowingly be holding onto another piece of forgotten treasure, just waiting to be discovered. So next time you're handed your change at the grocery store or digging through your coin stash, take a closer look. That ordinary penny might just have a story to tell. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this incredible tale of the $6 million 2017 1 cent coin, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more unbelievable stories from the world of rare coins and hidden treasures. See you in the next one.